I've come up with a way to totally eradicate this whole idea of rejection in sales. If it's over at hello, how the heck are you going to succeed in selling? You've got to rise above that and change your mindset.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Stump The Guru Show. It's Ari Gelfer with Trust-Based Selling. I'm on the road this week in the U.S., spoke at the Financial Planning Association annual event last week, so I'm visiting some family, hence the background's a bit different. But if you're new to the show, this is a chance to jump on live and ask me a question. Just go to stumptheguru.com, and if you don't know what we do, we specialize in a unique approach called trust-based selling, where you can compress your sales cycle down to less steps, build trust quicker, and not chase people anymore. That's probably the biggest end result of our work that we do. And we have a whole body of language around that with trust-based languaging, a mindset shift, and a really unique approach to doing that. So this show really is about people jumping on, asking some tough questions they can't solve on their own, getting some new insights. Folks come back every time to ask new questions, which is great. But I want to theme today this show with the concept that was advertised, which is the idea of what do you do at the end of a call with someone where there's chemistry, they're interested. How do you end that call without them dropping off and you having to chase them? It's always kind of an awkward moment. So there's a couple of things you can do. Obviously, you're not going to try and close them per se, but you want to keep them going with you. But if they get off your calendar, then you're kind of in trouble because you're forced to chase them. So here's a phrase you can do. You can say at the end of your call to really gauge where they're at, which will then give you permission to go to a next step, which is to hopefully schedule them for a next step with you. And here's the phrase. It goes like this. You've had the meeting with them, all is well, they seem like a good fit, and they're happy with you and you're happy with them. At the end, you're going to say this. You're going to say, where would you like to go from here? And that creates space to allow them to process in the back of their mind what they feel comfortable doing with you next. And hopefully they'll say to you, well, I'm interested in working with you or talking to you. Now, if they say something to the effect of, well, I need to think about it, or now's not a good time, or something like that, then you can say this. You can say, no problem. Always say no problem. Would you be open? That's the bridging phrase. Would you be open to us circling back on our calendars, scheduling a time right now to circle back again, say 2 weeks from now, we can catch up. You may have some more questions for me. I may have more questions for you. And here's my favorite word of all. We can brainstorm some new ideas for you as well and just see where you're at. How does that sound to you, Mike? That's a hard offer to resist. There's no pressure. The languaging is carefully chosen to give them enough space to realize you're here to help them think these through. And the folks who've actually implemented this are getting amazing results. They're all getting booked appointments for a second meeting from the first by that simple languaging. So hopefully it helps everybody who's either on the podcast, listening to this call right now, or watching live to use this as a tip to keep your prospects on the calendar every step of the way. On that note, we will jump on to the live show. And Steve, who do we have back there today?
All righty. For the people that don't know, this is actually Ari's childhood bedroom. I'm kidding. All right, I'm going to bring Doug on. Hey, Doug, how are you?
Great. How you doing?
Doing great. If you could tell everyone a bit about yourself and your question for Ari, please.
Yeah, Ari, thanks for taking the call.
Sure.
So I am a financial advisor. I've been for 27 years. Recently, I've come across a handful of opportunities that are different than what I'm used to. And that is, I would say either colleagues, friends, in some social way. I've got people who I've known for a long time who are approaching retirement. They know what I do. But there's no bridge. I'm struggling to find like we've done in other ways that you've coached me, of an articulate, frictionless way to create that connection. How would you suggest I talk to someone or approach this kind of a situation where I know for a fact I've gotten an email that says, hey, everyone, I'm retiring next month. And I'm like, I've known that person for 32 years. What do I do?
Okay. Okay. Yeah. It can be awkward to make that transition from social to business. And most people out there struggle with this because we're taught to network, build relationships with people, and the hope that they'll business together. But you're talking about a situation which is now being triggered by their retirement. So the question is, how do you approach them in a way that does not feel like you're just trying to approach them for the money only? You actually want to help them, and that's the key. They have to feel emotional connection, that you are there to help them, not just win them as a client. So here's some language to think about. Let's just say the guy's name is Bob. Hey Bob, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. I heard you're retiring. That's great. Listen, I've been thinking a lot about you and your situation, and I may have some not information, some insights and ideas that might help you personally as you transition out to retirement phase, that could potentially help you financially in many ways. It could be in terms of saving some taxes, or even really getting a lot clearer on what your legacy might be. You kind of list out what you believe the key 3 or 4 issues would be that would trigger I need to think about that. That way it connects to what they're thinking about. Then you can say, if you'd be open to it, key phrase, I'd be happy to we can have a chat together and kind of do a bit of a diagnostic conversation together that I've really honed in on, and help maybe see some blind spots or insights that you may not know about that might be able to help you in your transition. Would you be open to that, Bob? So you can tighten up a little bit, but the key phrases are, would you be open? You're listing out the issues and the triggers that you believe are important to him. You have a unique diagnostic process that can help him find the blind spots that maybe even he himself wouldn't know. That all feels like you're doing something for him, and you're going to help him see around the corner that he can't see on his own. And that's your positioning, Doug, is that you see around the corners where others see behind the corner, see backwards. That's your unique positioning for everyone you approach. And that's intriguing for anybody to even say that. Say, oh,
for sure.
And I think that might be your opening.
That's great. It's sort of like, and I think it's very similar to other things I've seen you talk about or advice you've given on. It makes no sense to try to just create some inauthentic commentary or sleight of hand or bait and switch type of a thing. But it also is very, I think 99% of salespeople, regardless of what they're selling, probably move into that category, whether they know it or not. And then there's this just the straightforward bull in a china shop approach is going to turn them off.
Right.
So it sounds like
most people have the right intention with the heart. They want to help people, but the
Right.
words come out kind of, staccato, like fragmented, and it feels awkward. And you're like, why did I say that? So the magic here is the languaging and the phraseology.
Okay. And so what you're saying is really it's a win-win. It's you're truly offering to help them.
Look, if he says no, I think I got it down pretty tight. I got the whole thing mapped out, locked down. You say to him, you say, hey, great, have a great day and good.
Yeah.
Let's stay in touch. That's it.
Right. Then Then you also haven't ruined a relationship or
There's no liability or downside to this at all. No risk on your part with him.
Makes sense. I appreciate the help.
Thanks for coming in, Doug.
Thank you.
Take care. All right, we're back to the Stump the Guru show. This is where people jump on live. I'm here without a net, so to speak. Their toughest challenges they have in terms of the sales process, chasing ghosts, complex scenarios, and often the answers are a different way of thinking and languaging, and that's kind of our superpower here. If you don't know, we have our latest new book that's out now called Trust in a Split Second. Also, Are You Chasing Ghosts? You can get a free copy at arigalper.com or unlockthegame.com. And you can also have a consult with me or my team there to talk through your situation. That's all complimentary for those of you who are listening or watching right now. So, Steve, who else is back there today?
All righty. Up next, I'm going to bring on Mary Brooks. Hey, Mary, how are you?
Hey, good.
All righty. So if you could ask Ari your question and let everybody know a little bit about yourself.
I'm a CFP. I retired and then I got bored. So I'm back. This time I'm doing retirement coaching. We've retired twice, so I think I really know a lot about that. What I am concerned about, and my question is, how do I smoothly move from? I've had people who are ready, they're ready to change now. What we need to talk about is the roadmap. And I'm just clumsy in bringing it up. And then the other clumsy part of it is after we've gone through the roadmap, I do want to get to the point where they pay me, uh, and also schedule the next move.
Okay. Okay. So you're talking about the section of the one call sale, which is after the iceberg, once you've unpacked the situation.
Right.
And you've asked them, is this a priority for you? And they say, yes, it is. So here's the language that you can use to smooth things out for you, Mary. What you say is this: would it be helpful for you if I walk you through my roadmap and framework for how I address your issues from here? Would that be okay with you, Julie?
Okay.
You ask permission. Always ask permission. They don't feel like you're taking them down a process that you're directing. Now, the way you say that, obviously, they're going to say sure, because they want to see something of what you do. Then you show them the roadmap and you walk through here's how you say it. Here's my roadmap, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. You read each phases and the bullets underneath that we created. And then at the end of you explain the roadmap, you'd stop and you say, don't say, do you have any questions? You say, what are your thoughts? That's the key word. What are your thoughts on the roadmap? Because your roadmap probably is common sense. It's simple. It makes sense. And you're waiting for someone to say to you, that makes sense, Mary. It's common sense, right? And then you'd say, where would you like to go from here? And you pause. This requires immense patience on your part because you have to allow them to step into the space. If you jump forward too fast, it's over. You've broken all the trust you created with them. So you say, where would you like to go from here? And most likely they're going to say to you, well, what's the next step, Mary? How do you work? How do you charge, right? That's probably the typical thing they'd probably say to you. Then you say this, you'd say, it's really simple from here. Really easy from here. We just schedule a time to have you come back to start with phase 1. It's a nominal one-time fee of only $3K, whatever your amount's going to be, $4K, $2K. Don't use the word thousands. Only use the letter K. It feels easier for the other person. It's simply $3K to have me take you through phase 1 through phase 3 that assesses your situation, gives you a plan of what to do, and gives you confidence what to do next. That'll get us to the stage where you at least have clarity and visibility on where to go from there. Then we take it from there. Then you say, how does that sound to you? That's the process to use with the languaging that should smooth out all the rough edges. I think you're probably thinking about right now. What do you think about that?
Oh, I think it's a wonderful start. Feels good.
The simpler that you make it and the more space you create between each step, the more they trust you because they're hiring you not based on your competency. They're hiring you based on your approach. They won't tell you that, but they'll emotionally feel that way, that the way you're handling them is so elegant and so appreciative. They don't feel like they're being sold, and that in itself will be the trigger for them to activate with you.
Thank you.
Great to see you again, Mary. Take care.
You too.
All right. So we're getting very interesting questions here, and they're all kind of themed around how to engage somebody in a way where you're not coming across with a hidden agenda, but you're present with them in the moment. And you're okay with whatever the next step's going to be, but you're not going to put any momentum in this conversation. This is the key idea behind this, is that when you put momentum between each step and people feel pressure from you, psychologically they shut down and they want to think about it. So I'm really glad that question came up, and that's why our trust-based languaging is so important. You can get some samples of that in our new book called Trust in a Split Second, which you get at arigalper.com for free. Mailed to you, stamped in an envelope. We'll pay for it. Okay. Who else do we have, Steve? Anyone else back there?
Oh, I don't want to bring him on, but I'm gonna because I have to. I love him, but he's from Baltimore, and they just beat the garbage out of the Yankees last night, and he deserves his moment in the sun. We all know who this is. What's up, Norris? How we doing, buddy? Man,
Thank you, Steve.
I'm just
Light
leaving
stuff,
it.
but I know you can handle it.
You have your moment of glory, man. I'm bouncing.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, Ari. Before I ask the question that I had in mind, I'd like to piggyback off the fella that you spoke to.
Sure.
I have a similar situation, and my friend says, well, I already have a lot of advisors.
I have a lot of advisors, he says. So here's what you say. Keep your advisors. I'm not suggesting you should change advisors at all. That's the end result later. All I wanted to see if you'd be open to some different perspective and insights that your current advisors may not be given to you now. See, he thinks your goal is to fire his advisor and hire you. Now, that may happen, it may not, but you don't start there with the person. You start with, would you be open to some different insights and ideas that even your current advisors may have missed or not share with you? Would you be open to that? And by the way, we're not discussing anything about working together. I just want to give you some ideas that might help you, and then we'll take it from there. Would you be open to that?
Right.
Cool.
Okay. Secondly, thank you. Secondly, I had a dialogue with someone on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
They connected. I asked them, I spoke to them about through LinkedIn. I told them a little about what I did. Would you be open to a phone call? They didn't say no. They said, not now.
Okay. Did you say, what was your actual text that you wrote? Did you say, would you be able to?
I'm reaching out. I said that, I'm reaching out. I run a financial advisory practice in Baltimore. I serve successful business owners and leaders. We specialize in creating tax-effective planning strategies in anticipation of transitioning into the next phase of your life. Would you be open to a conversation in the next week or so?
I see.
And they said, not at this time.
Okay. Okay. So I might tighten that up a little bit. And I might say, like I mentioned a minute ago, is would you be open to some different insights and ideas that may be helpful to you in terms of exiting planning? And if you'd like, that's an important phrase. If you'd like, ask permission. We can have a brief, and here's the word, not conversation, a brief catch-up chat together to share that with you. It's a slight.
They may say not at this time. One of the things I was thinking about
Yep.
with some of your language was, is this a priority?
Well, it might be a bit awkward. You haven't talked to the guy yet on LinkedIn. That's the problem with LinkedIn, is that it's a bit stilted because it feels like you're having a conversation with a guy, but it's just messaging back and like email back and forth. It's not a real conversation. You got to be really careful about jumping too far forward and using languaging too quickly. It's all about the entry point and coming in. So I've always advised my clients to start, once you make the connection with someone and they agree to connect with you, you start with, nice to meet you, Mark, ... You don't introduce yourself. You start with that. Then he says back to you, nice to meet you, Norris. Then you go, it's like one step at a time. Then you say, I specialize in working with, business owners, and I have some interesting insights that you might find helpful around boom, boom, boom. You can say, if at some point you'd like to, this is good too. I'd be happy to have a brief chat with you, or a brief catch-up chat, to share some of those with you, with no intentions at all of moving anything forward from there. See, that's why you could take off the edge off the end, because they're thinking you're going to close them on that phone call. That's why they don't want to talk to you. But take the edge off by saying, without any intention of moving beyond that, I'm happy to share some insights if you'd like. That That might feel a relief that you're not trying to just get them on a call.
Yeah, I can use that phraseology, with even the not yet.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Definitely. That's an important element that people forget, is always remind them that there's no hidden agenda here. It's just the initial conversation to share some insights to see how they react to them. And then we'll go from there. No assumptions. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Norris. Good to see you again. Take care. Bye-bye. All right. So we're on a roll here. Very interesting scenarios. As you can see, selling in this day and age is delicate. It's sensitive. You can't just do what you've been doing all these years, because you'll burn more bridges than build them. That's why folks come here to learn about what we do around our trust-based mindset and languaging, which are all is summarized in our books that we have at arigalper.com. So grab yourself a copy and do yourself a favor. You can really improve your ability to connect with people at a deep level, at a trust level, by not putting words in place that associate you with everyone else trying to spam everyone on LinkedIn. Okay. So anyone left out there, Steve?
Yes, we have one more person left, and this is, between Norris and this person, these are the two people I feel like one day if somebody's going to stump you, it's coming from either Norris or it's coming from Sam. So I'm going to bring Sam on, and I'm not telling him what to do. And look, you are dressed fantastic today, Sam. I love the look of your jacket.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, I got the memo from you this morning, Steve, so I put my blue jacket on. Thanks very much, Ari. Just something I wanted to, just a bit of a testimonial, something that Norris just said that triggered. And it's words that you've taught me over the years that work so well. It's around actually saying to people up front, I'm not going to sell you anything. There's nothing for you to sign. There's no reason. I have no agenda. And you, by letting people know that up front, and I teach my clients this as well, and say, look, just tell them up front that your agenda is simply to understand their world, what's going on. It's diagnostic. There's nothing for you to sell, nothing for you to sign. The more I tell my clients to do that, the more they tell me that people are actually signing, doing, and getting things. It's just amazing. It's just amazing.
It's ironic how when you go the opposite direction, they come your way. And some languaging around this it can also help, is that I'm not going to make any assumptions at all in my mind about where we go after that meeting. I just want to understand at a deep level what your concerns are. We'll go from there. The more you kind of give them a stopping point, the more they feel safe with you.
Absolutely. And I find the more that they feel a deep sense of they can relax, there's nothing here.
Correct.
Then they open up, Ari, and they tell me everything I want to know.
Yep. And that's the key to building trust, is to create what I call the moment of vulnerability, where they finally feel they can put their guard down and tell you their truth. If you're not at that level with people right now and you're in the business of selling something, you're in trouble, because we're now in a commoditized world and people are getting hit every day by sales pitches and marketing pitches. And if your approach feels like in any way like the typical approach, I'm not saying overly aggressive, but even the words you use sound like what they're all hearing, it's overt hello. That's how fast you're going to hit the wall. So that's why this languaging is so important, and this thinking is so important to penetrate the wall out there.
Yeah. And the thing that you've said for so long, and it's so true, I just want to reinforce it. So more of a testimonial for some of the things you've been saying to me.
Sure.
I'm teaching my clients this, and it's working very well for them as well, is they're judging you on your approach, 100% on your approach, not how good you are or your bells and whistles or your product. They really don't care about all that. All they care about in their initial meeting is if you're the one. And by you sort of doing everything you can to make sure that your differentiator is in your approach and how you treat them, that's the gold.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's hard for people to really grasp, because for the expert sale, for those who are experts, we've always been taught that our job is to prove ourselves.
Yeah.
To show value, prove to them we can do the job. But now in a commoditized world that we're in, they're not questioning in their mind whether you can do the job. They assume you can do it if you're professional. The real question they have in the back of their mind is, do I trust you? And that's the part everybody misses and doesn't know how to really handle, because they've been so ingrained in the old way of trying to show their value, free education, consulting, and ideas and brainstorming, giving stuff away to try and get that proof.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just wanted to report that it's just having such an incredible result with
Right.
my clients. And I say to them, don't be the salesperson. Do everything you can to not have that persona. Words, approach, languaging. Don't be the salesperson. And then when they're thinking to themselves, this guy's not trying to sell us anything, then they'll want to buy from you. That's the ironic thing.
Correct. And it takes some, it's not easy to do this, by the way. Most people struggle with this because they've been conditioned to do something the same way for so many years. So
Yeah.
it's, you got to kind of deconstruct yourself and be self-reflect in your own thinking and be aware of your own behaviors and things that you say. That's why, people ask us, Ari, tell me about your program. And my answer is, we don't have a program. We have an intervention for you to solve your problem, because it is a mindset shift for sure.
Yeah. So I just wanted just a couple of points just to thank you really
Right.
more. Things have been working.
Thank you for coming in, Sam. Appreciate it.
No
Good
worries.
to see you again.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right. That brings us to the close of our Stump the Guru show this month. Hopefully you've got some interesting insights, mindset shifts, and you'll come back again every month. This is a podcast. It's now on Spotify, wherever you hear podcasts. Just type in Stump the Guru and you'll find it there. If you don't have my books, please reach out and get them. You can get them for free. We'll mail them to you for free at arigalper.com. Learn, study, own this. Your differentiation in this economy will be your ability to differentiate on trust, not value. And that's a big shift. And once you own this, you win the game at the end. On that note, we'll say goodbye, everybody, and see you next time.
I've come up with a way to totally eradicate this whole idea of rejection in sales. If it's over at hello, how the heck are you going to succeed in selling? You've got to rise above that and change your mindset.